Hello, people of YouTube. Welcome to episode 1 of my marathon prep training series. I have agreed to run a marathon on the 22nd of August 2020 with my pal Sean. And if you're wondering why, well, so am I. Seriously, there are a couple of reasons why I have agreed to commit to this training. Firstly, I want to prove to myself that I can do something like this. Running a marathon is a big challenge, and I want to prove to myself that I can do it. I think I can do it. I think I'm mentally strong enough to do it, and hopefully I can stick to it and finish the job. Reason number 2 is I wanted to make sure that I didn't waste this quarantine. I didn't want to spend the whole time inside, kind of wasting 3 months. I think this period is probably the best time I'm ever going to get to run a marathon. I don't work at the moment, so I've got no work obligations. I'm now done with school. It was either this or become a full-time COD player or a streamer. And if any of you saw my last video, you could see that COD really isn't for me. Reason number 3 is I thought that maybe I could inspire at least one other person to do something like this, whether it be a full marathon, half marathon, or if you go out and do an Ironman and completely top me, I won't be disappointed. You'll just spur me on to do something even more crazy. I'm going to document the whole thing, every training session, and probably upload it into fortnightly videos. I didn't think the content would be as interesting just to put it in week by week. Probably every other Monday, sometimes every Monday. If it's been a big week of running and I've got something to talk about, I will drop it in every Monday. So yeah, if you're sitting there thinking, yeah, I want to do something like this, we'll pause this video, get up and go start it, even if it's just a 2-kilometer jog, just to get off the couch and get your first session done. So for episode 1, I'm going to go over the program itself, my plans for nutrition and my plans for recovery. But before we get into that, I'm just going to read off some of my starting statistics. I am 5'10" and a half. Yes, the half does matter. And I weigh 176 pounds currently. My resting heart rate is between 42 and 46 beats per minute, so let's just call that 44, and I will go into more detail later about why I think that stat is important. I'm going to try and make this series as technical as I can and really go into the depths of marathon training. Like I said, I've never done anything like this before. I've never put my body through something like this, so I don't know how hard it's going to be, or even if I'm going to complete it. It could be a thing in 2 episodes' time where I've got a nice clickbait of I give up. So, yeah, sit back and let's dive into episode number 1. So let's dive into the program itself. So like I said, me and Sean are complete beginners when it comes to marathons. He's run 2 half marathons. I have never done any proper event, and although it won't be a proper marathon, probably because there'll be no marathons open by that point, we are going to set out the best we can, add in a couple of aid stations and try and get round in. I think our target time is 3 hours and 30 minutes. So for anyone who's run a marathon, that is relatively fast, especially for their first one. I have edited this a little bit so it looks how it did when we first started. We are actually 1 week into this already, as I will explain now. So starting off with, let's start over here and get our kilometers right. So these are the speeds that we went with to start off with: easy, moderate, tempo and fast runs. It's important to mix everything up as you go through the program, as I'll explain in a second. But for our times, a good guide I think people should set out is go run a 5k 80% effort, and then use that as your tempo run. So if you do an 80% effort 5k in 25 minutes, use probably a 4:45 to a 5 kilometer per minute for your tempo runs, and then add on 15 seconds to the top of that for moderate, put it across, and then easy run can be kind of as slow as you like. Also on here, I have starting weight and starting heart rate. It's important to track your weight because you don't actually want to, it depends what your goals are. So for me personally, I know for Sean this is completely different, and he's going to dive into this on his Instagram page. I will leave a link to it here. He's doing this completely vegan. I'm doing it eating normally or eating meat. But his plan is to do this completely vegan, and we're going to try and compare to see how we get on with one vegan diet versus a non-vegan diet. So my goals in terms of weight, I'm currently 176 pounds, as I said, and I plan to lose probably about 5 pounds worth of fat during this, but I don't want to lose too much weight. So I want to try and keep my muscle mass as best I can. I don't want to become skinny. I want to keep my body strong as well as built for endurance. And I will go a little bit more into weight sub when we go into nutrition, and I'll tell you my calorie goals for each day. And then in terms of starting heart rate, my starting heart rate was 44 beats per minute, in between 42 and 46, measured on my Apple Watch. And even if that's not directly correct, we can use it to compare at the end, going through weeks to make sure that I'm improving my aerobic base, which I'm about to talk about now. So as you can see, this is 16 weeks long, and we are actually in week 1 already. So week 1 is done, as I'll show you on the other spreadsheet, with the one we're actually using at the moment. But it started off with a tempo 5k, a moderate 7k, then a rest day, easy 5k, moderate 10k, XT, which stands for like extra training really. Cycling, walking, swimming. Obviously most swimming pools are closed now, but anything that's not running but still getting the body moving for around 45 minutes to an hour and 15. And then finishing off with an easy 10k on Sunday, which is actually tomorrow. That brings a total of 37 kilometers. Oh yeah, everything here is in kilometers. It's just easier for us to kind of like managing kilometers. Miles is a little bit longer and it's harder to like adjust as you're running. So everything we do is in kilometers. You can change that on your watch, or you can just go through here and change it into miles and just convert everything into miles, especially if you're American and you don't understand kilometers as much. But I will say a marathon is 42 kilometers and a half marathon is obviously 21.1. So full marathon is 42.2, 26.2 miles. So week number 1, there is 37 kilometers, and then as you can see, it kind of gets a little bit, it increases slowly, going into week 9, which is 67 kilometers, and then we kind of hit like the business end of 74, 49, 92, which would be a tough week, 78, 65, 40. And then finish off with a marathon, which is going to be the 22nd of August 2020. I don't want to spend too long looking at this. I'm sure if any of you have run a marathon and you want to like leave a comment and like explain where we're going wrong a little bit, like I said, we're only on week 1 and we're up for changing it. If people with like better advice than us, professionals, come in and say this is all wrong, your taper's wrong, or you're not building up enough miles, it's not quick enough, we're fully up for change. As you see, each week we have a different sort of run, and I'm going to explain a little bit about why now. Week 1, we had a tempo 5k, moderate 7k, easy 5k, moderate 10k. Saturday's today, and then tomorrow I've got an easy 10k, bringing the total miles for week 1 to 37. So the reason why we've like mixed up between easy, moderate, tempo, and fast. So our thinking is fast. It's just like flat out. There's not many fast runs, and I think the longest fast is 5k. Or no, sorry, 10k here. So next Friday and the Friday after. But after that, I think the longest fast is 5k. Thinking behind that is just that we want to like test our speed and see if we're actually getting any quicker during this, because when we actually started, the idea of this came from us running 5Ks, you know, the 5K challenge that went round, and then all of a sudden it was a 10K challenge. Me and Sean went 15K challenge. He ran a half marathon in 1:49 a couple of weeks ago as well. Obviously I had to go out and beat him and run a 1:48. And yeah, we kind of came up with let's run a marathon together. So tempo run is the pace we are aiming to run the marathon in. So if we're looking at like a 5-minute kilometer, so 5k 25 minutes, 10k 50 minutes, and so on, which brings I think a half marathon in 1 hour 40 and a little bit, so a full marathon in 3:20. I think my maths is right. So if we then come off a little bit from the tempo, aiming for our 3:30, which would be like a really impressive time. I know a lot of people who run their first marathons just go out there and just try to run a marathon. I think if we train this hard, I think we'll be okay to go out there and get at least under 4 hours, worst case scenario, but hopefully push down towards 3 hours. Then we're going to move into moderate, which is 5:15 to 5:30 for us. Like I said, again, this is for us. If you are I'm going to leave a link to this in the description if you want to come and like edit it a little bit, make it like for your goals. If you halve everything for maybe a half marathon, well, we might go. No, you should be okay. Yeah, if you half everything, you should be able to do a half marathon in it, or even just use it for a little bit. Do it for 2 weeks. If you get bored, change it a little bit. Might just get you off the couch. But moderate is 5:15 to 5:30, so that's like an okay run. Not quite at conversational pace, but heart rate probably around 160 when we're running, which isn't too bad. And then easy, which is like nice and slow. And I think a big mistake that I've seen a lot of people make, and like a lot of people say my big mistake when I started running, was not doing enough easy runs. So you want to try and build your zone 2 base, aerobic base. And I know a lot of people when they go running, like even when they're running slowly, they don't feel like they're working stuff. But to actually like build up your VO2 max and like increase like your aerobic base, you have to do the slow runs, even if it's like a slow, boring pace. You'll see a lot of the easy stuff on this. We want easy 30k, easy 25k. I think there's easy half, like just a lot of easy runs. And you see all the Sunday runs are easy. No records trying to be broken. Just try and get out there as slow as I can. Like this easy. Well, the easy halves itself are probably going to take about 2 hours 15, whereas when we did a half the other day, where I did it in 1:48. So it's nice and slow, conversational pace, building that aerobic base. And then as we go through, we're increasing 52 kilometers, 51, 57, 47, 67, increasing the whole way to 92. This week 13 is going to be ridiculously hard, and then tapering off a little bit. And I'll leave this link in the description if you want to go through it. And if you do have any recommendations, increasing distance, reducing distance, making harder runs, making easier runs, please let me know. And then if you've got to say as well, this is how me and Sean have got this set up for us to edit. So we can both edit it on Google Docs if you want to decide to do this with your friend, family member, whatever. I'd always recommend doing it with someone just to keep yourself accountable to them as well. So we log each run. So underneath the first workout, we put what we did, what speed we got, and then a comment about it. And then each day we do that, going through them. And then we have our details down in here, and it's just a way to motivate each other. And like, obviously he's in England, so I wake up and see that he's done it, check the log, and then it just makes sure that I then get up and do it. Or at the same time, if he misses a workout and I go do it after him, I know he's gonna get up and get it done. So now we're going to jump straight into nutrition. So my goals for this are kind of, for the first 3 weeks, I want to go into a calorie deficit of 500 to 300 calories a day. So if you don't know, it takes 3,500 calorie deficit in order to lose 1 pound of fat. That's not weight, that's fat. So if I'm in a 500 calorie deficit for 1 week, I will lose 1 pound of fat. So if I do that for 3 weeks, I will lose 3 pounds of fat, and then from there I can manage it as it goes. So for the first 3 weeks, 300 to 500 calorie deficit. And the way I'm going to run this is I'm going to track my calories using MyFitnessPal. If you haven't used that before, it's a great, easy way to track it. And I'm going to go off my Apple Watch for how many calories I burnt. So if I burn 4,000 calories in a day, I will eat 3,500 calories. If I only burn 2,000 on a rest day, I'll only eat 1,500 to 1,800. I plan to weigh myself at least once a week to see if my watch and MyFitnessPal are like adding up. So then if I realize I'm not losing weight, or I'm losing weight far too quickly, then I can increase the calories or decrease the calories as so. So I'm going to try and eat as many nutrient-dense foods as I can. So like lots of fruit and veg, pasta, rice, chicken, steak, like lean meat. Turkey mince is a really good one, which I've started eating probably in like the last 2 years. I find it digests really, really easy. I'm going to try and keep processed foods like to a minimum. Obviously, there's going to be some days when I'm going to want to cheat day after some long runs, but I just think that the best way to fuel my body here is just nutrient-dense, clean food. I'm going to aim to drink between 4 and 5 litres a day to make sure that I don't obviously I'm going to be sweating out a lot. So I'm going to make sure sodium's high, water's high, so I stay hydrated and don't like completely burn my body out. I'm going to keep protein around 1 gram per pound of body weight. So I weigh 176 pounds. I'll be eating between 170 and 180 grams of protein a day, just making sure my body has enough to recover. Most of the protein from food, but then I'll probably be having at least 1 double protein shake a day. If you guys do want a good place to get protein, I just get mine from MyProtein. It tastes good, it's cheap, and I use some YouTuber I watch's discount code. I think it's ASILVIP. I'll leave a link to that in the description. But yeah, you get like 50% off whatever. Order yourself a nice big tub for anyone starting out anything new. I'm also going to obviously have my carbs as high as possible. So on the long runs, like the night before, I'll be pasta, lots of pasta, rice, and just making sure I have enough fuel. For any run that's less than 7K, I'll be doing that fasted in the morning. So let's say 5K, 7Ks, I'll just get out and run. For anything more than that, I've found that peanut butter on toast or peanut butter on an English muffin and 1 litre of water before my run gets me through it. It's probably enough. I don't want to eat too much, but when we get into like the 35Ks, I want to make sure that I have enough food in my body so that it's not going to burn out, and I'll be able to have the fuel to actually hit the speeds and finish the runs to the best of my ability. I will be, before my fasted runs, doing 1 litre of water. I find that I can get migraines if my body does dehydrate and I get like blurred vision. I used to get it a lot when I was like 16 when I couldn't find out the source of the problem, but I found that 1 litre of water before a run works perfectly. And then for supplements, just protein, daily vitamins. I use another supplement from BPN called Strong Greens and Strong Reds, just because I don't eat enough fruit and veg myself. It kind of like aids the nutrients of all helping for recovery. So recovery is something that I've learned a lot about since I came to America. It's kind of like neglected in England. As I came over, I found that I was by far the least flexible in the team. I still can't touch my toes now. So over the last couple of years, I've been getting better at the stretching side of it, but still a lot more to be done there. Like I said, my protein's gonna be high, so my muscles should be able to grow, repair, and and be able to like handle the mass amounts of pressure I'm going to be putting on them. I do 10 minutes of stretching after each run, and I do like a relatively short warm up, maybe like half a kilometre, a couple of dynamic stretches, then post runs always static stretches for like 10 minutes. As well as like foam rolling before long runs. I've also got one of the foam rolling sticks. Again, they're so cheap to pick up off MyProtein, Amazon, anywhere really. Just make sure you have a foam roll. Foam roll is one of the best things you can do for recovery and making sure that your muscles are ready to go the next time you want to use them. I've also got one of the massage guns. I got it from like a Chinese website for like $60. Don't buy one of the expensive ones. The one I've got works perfectly fine. It's got like the nice end and put it in. It's good for like getting into the IT band. I know pretty much everyone struggles with tight IT bands, and if you get it right in there, it feels awful, but it does do the job. And finally, something I've got into for this last year, and especially my last year playing soccer, was yoga. I don't have the slightest clue about yoga, and I've been following a lady called Sarah Beth. I'm gonna get her YouTube up now. So this is Sarah Beth's channel, and this is who I follow for all of my yoga. I just get my yoga mat out and then just literally just choose one of these videos and follow one. The one that I recommend the most for post-run, or if you want to do like one on like a rest day and you're really tight, I recommend this 20-minute yoga for runners, post-run yoga cool down for post-run, and then this 20-minute deep stretch yoga for athletes for rest days. Honestly, just stick it on. I can't do all the exercises still, but if you do it like 2-3 times a week, I promise you feel better, and it's stopped all hamstring issues that I've had before. And yeah, it's trying to help me open up my hips, which I find the tightest when running. I don't really struggle with many body parts. I tore my hip at my groin last year. I played a whole soccer season on that as well, and I find that like my hips tense a lot when running, probably like in like the 15 to 18 kilometer mark is where like my hips like really tighten up, and I find it hard to actually get them going again. So I'm doing a lot of yoga to try and like open up the hips and kind of like unlock the area. I know a lot of people like neglect their hips. When they do stretching, it's just like 2 minutes hamstrings, maybe a calf stretch, and then you're off. So yeah, I'm trying to do yoga at least 3 times a week in order to make sure my body recovers the best. So I hope you've enjoyed episode 1. I will be trying to get these videos out every week. However, some of them might be fortnightly, especially if I like don't really do much. I just follow the plan basic. I'll be logging every single run so you can see it and yeah, follow along or let me know what you're up to. Thanks for watching. Please like, subscribe and comment.